what I hear you say is that you want to establish like a routine, although you might not yet be fully booked, but you will be there the same hours as if you would have already have a full calendar full of clients, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so that everyone knows in the family and everywhere else. So this, now I'm working.
Yeah.
And after work, it's family time. But now I'm working. So to really make the space also for these clients to come in.
I feel deep inside that I a bit scared of losing moments, important moments in my personal life and with my family.
Hi everyone, I'm here today with Carol, and I'm so excited what she will share with me today. We saw each other last week, and now you will see what we will work on together. And I hope everyone who is watching this video at home can get a lot out of it. And now, Carol, let's begin. My time is all for you now. How are you?
Oh, nice to see you again, and I'm very excited with new things that happened in this week. Many aha moments that I have, the new discovery things.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very curious. Do you want to share these moments, all this, what happened since the last week?
Mostly, there are, a few changes that sometimes I just didn't think it were so powerful, because when I used to start the day, as I mentioned you last session, I used to think about the future and what I want to create each day, and that made me sometimes a kind of anxious, actually, that it's hard, and sometimes some days are harder than others, but now I just switch a little part, and I start thinking about what I've done last days, and remember to myself, pricing myself from that place, from the work I've done well, is not only reminding myself what I'm capable to do, but what I've done, like a proof that I'm really doing things. And there were days, like, of course, they were like, or I don't know, perhaps I didn't do much. But, I just remind myself, yes, I did, because I could finish these. I could, put some time in that and that and that, and just remind myself that I just did it. I mean, it's not necessary for me to perhaps say, oh, wow, you did this because you are wonderful and all that. But just reminding myself, like, you did something. And when I realize, for example, that I have to finish I wanted to finish my calendar, my booking calendar. And there were moments, many moments, that I was starting. And there are like little things, like, how could I change, the profile, the picture of the profile. And I wanted to switch the profile, and I have to find a new picture, but it was too big, and there I have to, cut the picture. And when I was doing that, sometimes the page just closed, and I have to move from, being a coffee shop to another place, and the internet were not so well. And those little things that make me think or feel, very overwhelmed, even with small details. And most of the days and the weeks and months and years, I could say now, that just stopped me in the past. And I just feel very frustrated. But now I switch just the thing that I wanted to say, that phrase that I create in last session, it's for a bigger purpose. It's for a bigger thing. And I just took a deep breath and just continue. It's not like sometimes, I don't know if people think like you are going to feel, oh yeah, I'm new now. No, it's not like that. But I just didn't stop, and I didn't want to stop, so I made it. I didn't stop, and I continue. Perhaps I was, frustrated still, but I didn't stop. And when I realized, I was calm again, doing, and then struggling again, and there, and just continue. And I finally had the booking link and all that, and I keep learning, and I realize that it's my mindset, because I've done more difficult things in the past, and now with these small things I used to get very frustrated, and those switches in those moments just made me just go on with coping with things from different ways. So for me, it was a good week because of that.
Oh, thank you for sharing this. That's beautiful. So, what I hear you say is that you have encountered situations which are familiar to you, like you come to a point and then obstacles and challenges come up, internet connection, then it doesn't work, you have to change the picture, you have to do this and that. We all know that. But what's the difference between you now and you before, like maybe a couple of months before, a year before, is you didn't stop. It just kept going. And when you had this feeling of frustration, you went back to your why, this phrase which you came up with in our last session, which is it's for a bigger purpose. It's not about this calendar. It's not about the internet. It's not about this and that. It's for a bigger purpose, to make a change in not
Yeah,
only one person's life, but in many people's life. Because when
yeah,
you change one person, you change the people around them also. That's what we talked last time. And that's so beautiful what you shared. Thank you for that. And my question here is, how do you feel now about that?
I feel like I'm building new tools and strategies that perhaps I shouldn't diminished. The power of the mind is very, very extensive, and there are many ways to manage that. And sometimes I just feel like being a coach and all that, and a therapist, that are like a formula, and I have to do it certain way, and sometimes with myself I don't take the appropriate care sometimes, and because I love to work for the people, and doing those small changes, they are very kind for me. It's like a way to take care of myself, and remind myself that I have to take care also of my emotions, and my mental health also.
Mm,
So that
yeah.
makes me feel loved.
Oh, that's beautiful. And that's so important and so wise what you just said now. First of all, yes, our mind is so powerful, more than we thought before. We really work with our mind and start to use it instead of being used by our mind, we then only recognize how powerful it is. And with just little changes, like you said, we can change so many things. And
Yeah.
now what you said was so beautiful and wise, that not only in order to become successful and to move forward and to build a business, but this is a kind of self-care and self-love to
Yeah.
do this work and to feel this love because of the work you do. And it's so beautiful. And my next question, I was thinking about what we talked about last time, about praising yourself and thinking or writing down the accomplishments you did. And you already mentioned a little bit. How did it go with that?
I must say that this is going to be, perhaps now that you say that, my next step, because I remind myself what I did here when I start the day, and I just focus on not stopping. But now I should write it down, because in the past, like I said in the last session, for me, having an agenda was a reminder of what I can't finish. So it was very frustrating. And now I could just write down what I did, like this reminder of uh, the kind of things that I said to myself, and perhaps start with a phrase. And what I love to do now, I think I can feel confident to do, it's to put a schedule with the first moment in the day, a first, just an action that I recognize to myself. Perhaps could be an actual action that I did, or a tool, or something that I have, value of being, just a thought or a phrase, something, a reminder. And just my next step could be, and this is going to be a challenge for me, because I love to have a full agenda of clients, but it's scary because I should manage that as well, and feel organized. And, just for watching my schedule, as I had sessions already, I want to, feel what is like that. You know, like a pretending agenda, and just sit in the computer and feel, even if I had, sessions, real sessions or not, I'm going to just put in front of the computer and just doing work, about my website, now my profile in Instagram, or whatever I want to, not stop doing. I just want to feel what it's like to manage time and say no. I can't be with my daughter or with my husband now, or with friends, or taking calls, just pretending I really have this full agenda already.
Yeah. So what I hear you say is, you want to now establish a habit of really writing down accomplishment or something, where you start with something you really acknowledge that you did, and this can be a task, or this can be something inside what you developed, what you appreciate, where you're grateful for, where you really can see the accomplishment, where you can then maybe go into praising yourself, how well you did it. And then the other thing is, what I hear you say is that you want to establish like a routine, although you might not yet be fully booked,
Mhm.
but you will be there the same hours as if you would have already have a full calendar full of clients, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so that everyone knows in the family and everywhere else. So this, now I'm working. And
Yeah.
after work, it's family time. But now I'm working. So to really make the space also for these clients to come in so that they
Yeah.
get used to it, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
And I would like to feel what is like, because I feel deep inside that I a bit scared of losing um, moments, important moments in my personal life and with my family and all that. And perhaps I sabotaging myself because I want these, but I don't. I want this full agenda, but I don't want to lose those moments with my family. Taking care of my daughter. But if I think like it could be possible, first of all, from the way I'm going to feel more secure, more successful, and I can be more present with my daughter and my husband, because perhaps I'm losing it already, sometimes because I didn't feel well. I felt like, oh, I should be doing this, and I should finish that while I'm with them. uh, so I just want to feel and prove myself that I'm not losing anything but by doing it. And
Mhm.
I don't want, or I don't have to wait until these are real sessions, real full sessions. uh,
Yeah. So what I hear you say is this fear of losing time, and actually losing time with your family and important moments with your family. And that's something that might hold you back. And is this something you want to work on today? Do you want to
yeah,
go deeper here? Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because, if you don't mind sharing something from my personal life, I'm also a mom, I'm a wife, and entrepreneur. So I know how it is to have everything and also being in between all the time. Because when you go to work, really to an office as an employee, you go there, you leave home, and it's clear for everyone, okay, mommy is at work. And when you come back, you are back. But when
yeah,
you work from home
yeah,
or from a little home office, and you make everything first of all yourself, and then you have your free schedule, so you can schedule your time. This is freedom, but it makes it also more challenging because it's the boundaries here are not so clear like when you would go to work, right? So
yeah,
totally can relate with that. And then this is something which I've observed with so many moms who also have a business, and myself, of course, that you are never there where you should be. Once
yeah,
you are with your child, you think about your work, or with your husband, you think about your work. Once you're at work, you think you should be there. And so it's always wherever you are, you think you should be at the other place, right? Is that correct?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, 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 yeah. And
And
also the work, the housekeeping, and that happens. Now that you say that, say to myself, no, no, this is important. This is for a bigger purpose. And because I said, oh, I'm just going to start doing lunch, and then I'm going to work, but I'm like checking all the time, and going there and there, and I just going to clean this, and then I come back to the computer, and that is very messy. And if I had a session, I wouldn't do that, of course. So I want to feel what is, say, know now and to put boundaries, like you said, boundaries to myself, and
Mhm.
just notice what it's like, because I've done it in some part of the days, some moments, or when I actually had a session, but I don't know how it feels to do this like all the week. Like if I had a full agenda, I've never had that before. So I just want to realize and prove to myself that I can manage that. Or
Mhm.
what is left, or what I must work on specifically to,
Yeah.
don't feel that fear. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, because what I hear you say is you want to have this full-time work, like focused on your work. When you're on your work, you want to focus on your work. When you are with your family, you focus on your family. And when you have to do things in the house, you focus on that, but not just being like always in the mind somewhere else. And I can totally relate to this. This is where I have been a long time when I started being an entrepreneur. So what helped me, and maybe this resonates with you, is like I hear a saying, and it says like, be where your feet are. It's
Okay.
just that simple. And when I was thinking of that, I was just like, okay, now I'm sitting on my office.
Mm-hmm.
That means I'm here. So I want to be here with my full being, with my mind and my focus and everything. And then I can dedicate all my time there. And when I'm with my family, there. And when I'm doing things in the house, the same. Because what happens when you are, or I, or another mom,
Yeah.
when we are so, when we are always thinking we should? What happens? How do you feel then?
If I'm present, I feel like I'm doing a good work with my life as a role that I'm in that moment. I feel proud of myself. I feel in excellence, no matter what I'm doing. If I'm doing it good or perfect, it doesn't relate anything at all with that. uh, it means that I really care, for the person I'm with, or the moment I'm with, and I'm really living life. And if I'm not present, I just feel like a mess, frustrated and not capable. But if I'm
Yes.
present, feel, of course, that success that I'm looking for, like, the sensation, the feeling. It could be similar. It doesn't matter if it's related to work or not. Perhaps it could bring me, the peace, or that I'm organized and tight, and I can make time to be present. What
Mm.
to be
So
present?
what I hear you say now is when there's a difference. When you are doing something and you are not present, then it feels like a mess. Then it feels always like I sense you didn't say that, but correct me if I'm wrong. Like a guilt. Would you say there comes a guilt in?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because that's normal. We all moms have this. We are at work, we are guilty because we should be with our kids or with our husband. When we are with our family, we think we should be working. When we are, then we have to do things in the house and all that stuff. But you said something so smart. But that's what you say. When I'm present, no matter what it is, wherever I am, doesn't matter if I do my work in my office or being with my family or doing things in the house, when I'm present, then I can feel this feeling of peace and this feeling of being organized. And so what comes up when I reflect this back to you, what you said to me?
When you say that, it's like hacking my mind to just focus on the feeling, and realizing again that those small changes, those small actions to say to myself or realize that I feel that way, being conscious of what I'm feeling, and realizing, oh, but this is what I want to feel like. I don't need to, accomplish all my agenda, and I don't have to, being in a perfect schedule or system for scheduling, or digital identity or anything to feel that way, because it's a feeling that I used to always project in the future. When I start taking control of my time, I'm going to feel that. When I'm uh, start, achieving my goals, I'm going to feel that peace. And I don't have to do that, or wait until that happen. Of course, I want to do that, but in the way I can, feel that way in any moment, no matter what. If I decided to feel that way, I just need to be present. Yeah, where my feet are. Yeah, I
And
love that.
right now, Carol, right now, can you make it happen that you feel this feeling right now?
Yeah, yeah.
And what
If
is this
I
feeling?
can do that, I can do that because I'm just realizing that I just stop my day, and I'm present with you here because I scheduled this, and I decided right now to do that, and I just focus on this right now, and yes, that made me feel like I'm doing my work for me.
What
Yeah,
else does it make you feel? You do your work, and how else do you feel?
make me feel peaceful, and it's like making myself like,
Mm, yeah,
um,
accomplished maybe.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And now I realize every time I finish my sessions with you, I feel that way, because I feel like, okay, because I'm present each session, and when I finish the session, I feel like that. I feel in peace, and like I'm doing really something. And if I try, translate that to other moments, when, for example, I'm watching a movie, if I'm really present in the movie, and I'm focused on that, and everything around, just put a pause, and put that boundaries. When I finish watching the movie, and even if I go to the cinema, for example, I make time for that, and translate that in that feeling, in those, even those moments. I feel that way. I feel like, oh, this is a good time. I had a good time. And when I'm present, that's the key.
Mm. So, wow,
Yeah,
when
it's
I'm
very
present, that's
light.
the key. Yeah, what an insight, what a beautiful insight. So, you realized now, that's what I'm sensing, that it doesn't matter what you do actually. You can do the same things, like at your desk, doing your work, being with your family, but you can, and you said something really important, you have the choice. You can be either present and feel that peace, or you feel like everything is a mess and disorganized
Yeah.
and guilty.
Hmm.
So again, we are back. The same situations, same circumstances, but what's the difference?
The focus, being present, of course.
Exactly. And
Being
the mindset, right? Again, it's only the mindset.
Yeah, it's not it doesn't have to be difficult. It's very easy actually. Just noticing it and apply that. And I could mention to you many moments that I felt that way and there are very very different situations, and for me could be a really good tool to apply this weekend, when I'm, instead of feeling, oh, I have to say no, and being very very clear on that and very strong and all that, I could change that into, I'm just going to be present, I'm just going to be focused on these. And yeah, of course that would make me feel at peace and like I'm achieving what I deciding to do, you know.
Mm. Yeah, wow. So you mentioned again there are these boundaries, but instead of forcing them to be like, no, I can't, and I don't have time, I have to do this and that, instead of forcing these boundaries, you can just have them, yes, clear, but more organically, if that's correct, in when you're focusing in whatever you are just right now having in front of you or doing, and being present, and then this feeling of peace will there be also. And you mentioned it before also, but what can help you in focusing on the task you're right now doing or being with your family?
I think it's about giving a new meaning to that boundarying action, because it comes to my mind this person, this very successful woman that I was hearing say, no flexible person ever is going to be successful. Most of these very successful people are not flexible. You have to be very very clear on what you want and say no and be disciplined and all that. And it's something like really hurt me because I felt, oh, I'm very flexible and sometimes. And it was in the past something like a good thing, or just a way of being, part of my personality, not to being flexible, if adapt to situations and understand situations. And people used to say that I'm very calm and or comprehensive or empathic. And in that time I felt, no, it's because I'm flexible, I'm too flexible, and that's why I'm not successful. I'm not going to be successful if I keep going, I keep being flexible. But now if I change that belief and changing into just being present, I don't have to be different of my personality, how my personality is, by doing this, being me, being flexible, and just being present in the task I want to do. Even if I could be flexible, because I cannot control everything. And if I'm not flexible, I'm going to break and I am going to frustrate. um, Things happen, and being good with that and being kind to myself, if I don't, I cannot be present in all day or in all situations. So for me could be then new meanings, and allowed myself to fail sometimes or not to achieve that and be okay with that. It's not, change that idea. It's not about
Mm.
being flexible and
Yeah, and so what I hear you say is you hear time ago a successful woman saying that successful people are not flexible because they focus. And you took this to your heart, and it also make you feel not so good because you are naturally a flexible person. And this is something which is what I hear you say, it's in your nature and you actually like to be that. And now when we were thinking through all we done this session, you realized you can change and you can give this a new meaning, because having boundaries doesn't have necessarily to be very rigid and very
yeah.
stiff. And you're right, when we are not flexible, we break.
Hmm.
When we are flexible, we can find our way. And then I don't know who this woman is and I don't know what she meant. So she is right. I'm sure she is right when we have her understanding, when we understand what she meant by that. But for
Yeah.
you, how you took it on, how you understood it, it was maybe something she didn't even mean
Yeah.
to tell you. And now you can take this and give it another meaning,
Hmm.
and that makes a big difference, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Giving a new meaning for that could really work, because now I did that. I put a new meaning by saying, putting these boundaries and saying no. Instead of that, just focus and giving the importance that that moment has. I remember once that I was driving and I was speaking to my daughter. She was about 5 or 6 years, and she used to chat a lot because speaking, it's a big discovering in kids. So she was saying many stories, and usually, if a phone call came in, I just said, "Oh, a moment, darling," and I just took the call. But once I was in the speaker, so I took the call, and she was like, "Oh, okay." No, she was, used to that. And I said, "Oh, hello, blah blah," and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I called you back later because Paula was saying very important things to me now. So may I call you later?" And the person said, "Yeah, of course." And she was like, "Oh my God." I saw her face like, "Oh, I'm important, and you are really paying attention to what I'm saying, and what I'm saying is important." And for her it was, you know, a fantastic situation that she remembers now. And I made her feel important, and that because I was present. And for me, that made me feel also a very, very loving person with her and with myself, and giving her that time that it could wait. The other call, it could wait. It was not something urgent. And saying those little moments is like, if I'm translate that to nowadays and in any situation, and say, okay, it's important, but it can wait because this is important also. And giving that to myself would, of course, I'm sure it will make me feel important and valued, and the other persons as well, if I care.
Yeah, wow, what a beautiful memory. And that's so important. You already realized that you had a lot of moments in your life where you were present, but one of those where was this beautiful moment with your daughter, where you not only felt present and good and at peace, but also you gave her such a beautiful gift of feeling important, which
Yeah,
is, we know, one of the most important things for kids, that they feel they matter. They are important, they are significant, and what they say and their opinion and what they do is really important.
yeah,
So that's amazing. And now I'm sure once you look back for more moments, you will find more and more moments where you have been present, where was no question, no, you focus on whatever is in front of you on this moment. And how did you do that? How did you do that, that you could be so present with her, for example?
I think what you say, it's the key also. It's a mindset. Just, just take this little time as I take in the mornings to remind myself why I'm doing, this next action or task, and just make this mindset of I'm going to be present, just not getting very uh, conflict by, oh, while I'm doing this, I have to, say no, and it's very hard. And no, I'm going to make this new mindset, take the time to just said, I'm going to be present. And in the time that I, receive a phone call and that I'm decide not to take as in a session, um, I say to my clients, I'm I'm in the off mode, but I just received calls from my school, the daughter's school, and that's it. And my husband, and they know, my husband knows that it's only an emergency to call me and interrupt the session. So the same way, I'm going to put my phone in pause and say, I'm going to focus on these. And I'm going to do that in different tasks. For example, as pretending I'm having a session, and perhaps when I'm going to take my daughter to school, and I'm going to really, really pay attention to her, and not thinking about the day and what I'm going to do next and all that. And I'm going to allow myself to read something, because I read also in small pieces of the day, and then I'm very tired at night, and say, oh, it's too tiring, and I must do something else, and
Mm.
allow myself also to say I'm going to read this, or looking at social media for a half an hour, just enjoying doing that, without feeling guilty for that,
Mhm.
as you say.
Because you focus, because you're present, because this is the time now for social media. This is the time now for reading. This is the time now for being with my daughter, my husband. This is the time now for working on my website. Like you said before, when you have scheduled a call for a coaching, or a call with me for your coaching, for a session, that's scheduled, that's clear, that's written down. No, this time, there I have this client. No one can interrupt me, or nothing can distract me. I'm super focused. And everyone knows only emergency calls are accepted, but we don't count on that. But you're very focused because you have it scheduled, right? You
Yeah,
know now. You knew today, okay, today at 7:30, I will meet Monica and I will be there, and you are laser focused for an hour.
yeah. So I'm just going to do that small change. I'm going to, just do this little mindset and remind myself what I'm going to focus in. I'm just going to focus on doing this for this, amount of time, and yeah, I'm going to do that change and implement that little mindset, because there are little mindsets. It's not necessary to say too many things to myself on that. Just like this little reminder. Yeah.
So reminding yourself before that you will focus only on that, whatever you're doing for, let's say, half an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, and then you have this time. And when this time is over, the next thing can have its own focus. And what's happening when you're doing it that way, when you're focusing versus when you are just trying to do something, but in your mind you are with your daughter, when you try to build your website, for example? What's the difference when you are focused and you build your website?
It doesn't matter if I'm really, really, you know, go forward with something, or make a very, very big work. It doesn't matter. It's about feeling, not procrastinating, because some of the things like I used to procrastinate is to distract myself. For example, if I'm building something about my website, and then I realize a message comes in the computer, so I'm just start checking all my email, and I said, oh yeah, I have to um, you know make this response to this and answer this, and saving this. And when I'm saving that, I'm going to that file, and then I say, oh yes, this file that have this you know this picture on these things that I have to put together. And I have, and now I just go for different ways. And when I realize I don't finish the task and I didn't focus on that, so I feel like I was doing something related to that task, but I didn't do it. And I feel this feeling of, oh, I'm going to finish it later, but this is a pending thing in there, like this.
Yeah, like unaccomplished maybe. You haven't done it because you were distracted by so many other things, because you were not focused. And maybe also, and maybe I'm wrong, but what I found out in myself, because I know that so well, what you just described, you're
Yeah,
going to do one task. And while you're doing that, you see this, and then you go there, and then you are there, and then you are already lost in something so far away from what you intended to do. So, what
yeah,
I also like, focus is the number one ingredient we need. And what I also reminded myself before I do a task, yes, I want to focus and I want to do it with intention.
yeah,
So I go there and open this file, not to get lost in that, not to make or new order or whatever comes to my mind, but because I wanted to look at a certain thing which I can take and then continue. So like always having the intention also, like going to social media, yes, with intention,
yeah,
because I want to see what I can do next time better to get more followers, to reach more people.
mm, yeah. And this is having a little goals. I was thinking a very different example, but it's true. When I said I'm going to, just take the dust of the windows, the house, and I it's like a system, like sabotage the system all the time with the same things, and I start, cleaning, but then I see in the way something like it's not in the their place, and I take that and going to another part of the house, and when I'm in that in other room, I realize something else, it's messy and all that, and I don't finish cleaning the dust. And I at the end of the day, I cannot say, oh yeah, I cleaned the dust today and I make this and that, because it wasn't finished. But when I say I'm going to just hoover the house, like in this next half an hour, and I just focus on that, and even if I notice something is out of place, I just don't pay attention to that and just focus on finish the hoovering. At the end of the day, perhaps I cannot go back to finish the other messy things that I notice in the way, but at the end of the day I can say, oh, I hoovered the entire house today. I
Yeah, great example. Yeah, and I think every mom can relate to that. Everyone who's watching that, that's a classical example. We start something and then we see this and that, and then we forgot even what we wanted to do at the first place. So when we go there, we focus and intention and doing one task, one step after the other. And while we are doing this step on this time which is dedicated only for this task, no matter what it is, no matter if it's something related to our work, our house, our family, when it's time for that, we are fully present and focused, and then we avoid to get lost in
yeah,
so many other things. And you're right, distraction is a big symptom of procrastination, and
yeah,
it comes, I mean, I see it so often in myself and other people also. We don't often even realize, and that's
yeah,
something really great that you realize that this is just, we procrastinate. There's something underlying which is keeping us from doing the things we actually want to do, because, and then everyone has another program running. But when we stay focused, when we do one task after the other with intention, at that, for that time what we dedicated to, then we can never get lost, and you will never feel guilty, right? Because you
yeah,
know after that time, like for example, okay, I have time now until 10 to do this, and then I do that in my house, and then at 2 my daughter comes, and then I can focus on her. We give ourselves the space. Suddenly we have the space to be there, whatever we do, with our feet and our mind and our soul, to just be there and dedicate full time, because we know, no, it's later when it's 2, then it's the same full dedication, time, and focus on our family.
yeah, yeah, of course. And it always when you say back what I say, I start thinking about new things, and came to my mind to keep a record to the things I do, like an agenda. Could be this goal, this intention to do that. For example, if I'm hoovering the house, and I could, record, take a record of really, really how much time that take me to do uh, real time, because I know perfectly what is the time for a session, or what is more or less the time to, make lunch or take a shower. But those tasks, if I'm pretend to say, okay, I'm going to just notice how long does it take to take out the dust of the entire house, and that's my goal, and it's like an experiment that I want to say, but because it's going to be good for me in the future to say, okay, I can schedule um, every day 1 hour, or yeah, 1 hour, for housekeeping. And if I'm certain of how long does it takes each task, more or less, I could be more organized and in control. If I have this intention, when you say that, I just think about that. So I have to focus on that, and you know, that would make sense to me at the beginning. To do that, and don't
Mm.
decide, because you are taking
Yeah.
a record of that, and
Exactly. What a
yeah,
great idea. So you can take the record to see how long each task takes in order to schedule. And when you schedule, that's what I sensing here, what you were saying is when you schedule, then every task has its own place. And you don't have to worry about not having enough time for the household, for your daughter, or for your work, because everything is organized in a schedule. And you know, at 3, it's time with my daughter. At 8, I'm there until 10 to do this um, in my office, for example. And then until 12, I do another task in my office. And then there is lunch or whatever it is. But you
yeah,
have then a clear schedule. And you said something very interesting because you came up in every session several times with the issue of not having control or control. You
yeah,
said now, once everything is scheduled, then I also have control about my
mm,
time.
yeah, yeah. Because I could say, oh, I've got 2 sessions or 3 sessions on Friday, and Friday perhaps I just have half an hour to do any housekeeping work, and in half an hour I don't going to pretend to do the laundry, for example, because if I'm clear that doing the laundry is going to take me X time, I'm going to be kind to myself to say that day is not possible because you have sessions, and it's great.
Mm.
Or that time is not going to be possible because you are going to take a coffee with your best friend, or you have this play with your daughter, or whatever it takes. And be kind to those tasks to myself, because sometimes I say, oh, this week I'm going to do the whole laundry and the curtains and then everything. And if I don't achieve that, I feel like, oh, other week or other day, and I didn't finish, but I'm not being coherent, because perhaps I'm scheduling to myself some task that took more time and they will be impossible to do.
Mm.
you know did that makes me feel like in more coherence,
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, when you're realistic with the time planning instead of planning in not enough time, and something super important, which every mom, everyone, especially moms, but every person actually should take to heart is like planning in also time for ourselves, time with our friends, time, with family, time for ourselves, and also time where we do maybe just nothing, just reading or whatever nourishes us. This
yeah,
is same. This is part of the work, like
mm,
sitting there and building a website.
yeah,
Same importance has to nourish yourself, and this can be with meeting a friend or
mm,
having just time for doing nothing. Whatever it is, everyone is different, but this is something we should never forget. This is also part of being an entrepreneur is we have to schedule in our time because the boundaries are not so clear. And if we wouldn't do, and if you are like, I think you and I, we would just plan in work after work and then being there for them, then the household, then this and that. And then we are exhausted. And when we
yeah,
are exhausted, how good can we be there for everyone else and how good can we do our job? Not good. But when
yeah,
we plan in realistically also time for ourselves, time with friends, whatever it is, then we also give this that focus that it needs.
yeah, yeah,
So
definitely.
amazing, amazing work you just yeah, I won't say now anything. I want to hear it from you. What is the biggest takeaway from today's session?
Ooh, there were a few. But I'm going to choose one, which is going this little mindset. I'm going to remind myself and focus on, decide what to focus on in each task and put, meaning and intention in that. And if something appears, I now, catch some of the beliefs that were present and just change them, that meaning. It could be very, very useful for me, those two actions.
Amazing. So changing the mindset in the sense of, instead of being somewhere and thinking you should be there and feeling guilty and feeling everything is a mess and not organized, you will decide what to focus on and then give it your full attention and focus and being present with whatever you are doing right now.
Yeah.
And the second thing is changing the belief, like, for example, what you said before is like when this successful woman said
Yeah,
not being flexible, but what does it actually mean?
mm-hmm.
Or
I
because
can.
because for you it would, you don't want to believe that you are doing something wrong, that you have it's wrong to be flexible, which is something you actually want to be, but you can change the belief around that. Maybe you can be flexible, but
Focus. Yeah.
yeah, so changing the belief
Yeah, of
is
course.
something you can do. And that's the thing. So, and what is it that you will do as the next step?
The next step is going to be making task with this little mindset, and the intention of each task is going to notice how long and how do I feel doing that present. Just that is going to make very, very interesting changes, because I'm going to, when I finish that task, I can take notes for times or feelings, or what was the actions or the things that took me away from focus on that task, and just realize, like take a record of things that I think.
Yeah, taking a
And that's
record. So
that's
first of all,
part of the mindset. The mindset could be
yeah,
that focus and
exactly.
record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So making this task, having a record, seeing how long it takes in order to use it then to schedule in a really good way. And you said also before, kind to yourself when you schedule. So make it realistic, not a struggle, but that you can really realistically focus on that at that time and being present. How do you feel
Yeah.
now?
I feel very excited to apply that now. Um, I have a very good feeling that this is going to help me a lot to have that control and organizations, without feeling like I have to change even my personality, or parts of my personality that I like. And yeah, that's a very, very, very exciting task to do. Yeah.
Amazing. That's so great. So yeah, I can't wait what you will tell me next time
Yeah.
and how it went. And yeah, thank you again for being here with me today. And
Yeah.
see you next time.
See you. Bye bye.
See you. Bye bye.